Patrice Bergeron. I mean, it's the best way I could have said.
Ever heard of
him? Yeah, I never heard of him. Hall of Famer. We can name all the things and pump you up, but we appreciate you hopping on here. What you doing right now in life outside of hockey?
Oh, I'm just being a full-time dad right now. I'm actually waiting at the dance class right now for my daughter to be done. So a lot of driving around, but it's been a lot of fun.
I love that.
Multitasker.
Yeah, multitasker's right.
It's all about being a dance dad, you know?
Hey, does it feel weird this time of year? I mean, you're in full swing, probably busy as heck with the kiddos and the family, but this time of year, like different things flowing inside you as far as your competitive nature come playoff time?
Yeah, definitely a little bit. Not gonna lie, I think to start the year was a little different. You know, I felt like my inside clock was telling me something in September when training camp was about to start, and it's almost like right now it's the same thing happening with the playoffs. Well, I guess they're well on their way right now, but yeah. So big game again for the Bees tonight, and obviously I've been watching.
Well, obviously, you've been a part of a bunch of big series, Stanley Cup champions, you know,
yeah,
2011.
Hey, how about this guy just coming out here? He's just, all right, I'll be a pro here. He's got to come see you again since 2011.
I know, man.
I know, guys, you brought it up. I didn't talk about it. You brought it up.
It was the elephant in the room, at least for me. But, no, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. I know it's been a little while since that series. That was the year you guys won the Stanley Cup against us. But as you watch playoffs, I mean, at least on my side, from my view, you've been a lot more big playoff series than I have. But that felt like the nastiest, almost meanest playoff series I've seen in a long time. Like, I think our teams genuinely didn't like each other. The cities didn't like each other. I don't know how you felt about that or if you've seen other series where it's kind of run of the mill. But it was like we generally had some sports hate for each other back then in 2011.
Yeah, you're right. And I saw some of the highlights in some of the games that we've played, and I still can't believe that some of the plays some of the hits that were made that were not called. Like, it was, as you said, it was nasty, and it was a pretty intense series, and a lot of hatred on both sides. But I thought it was great hockey and fun to watch, I'm sure, for a lot of fans.
Fun to watch me fish a few out of the net there, too, so that's always nice.
What a moment right there. Hey, I want to ask you, because when we talk about this time of year, I know it's the beginning of the playoffs right now, but as we all know, the next few weeks and couple months, actually, as they roll on, that's when teams get eliminated. You start finding out what players are dealing with, how banged up, and just guys running on fumes, right? And all I think about is you, 2013, the injuries that you sustained and were playing through, and it comes out, I'm like, there's no way. How does a human play through this? I'm honest question. I say this kind of laughingly, but did anybody have any intervention with you? Like, did the family, the wife, be like, hey, Patrice, like, come on, man, let's be a little smarter here. Like, what, like, take us through that time and what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I think you just said it. I think the family was not very happy with me wanting to play and actually playing those games. You know, it's one of those things where that was pre-kids also, so it's almost like I felt like I wanted to kind of leave everything out there, and I didn't really care. I didn't think about anything but, you know, the present, which is a good place to be if you're playing any sports. But that being said, yeah, I think it's just it's a grind for 82 games. You play, you go through so much as a team, you know, and you get into the playoffs hoping to get to this point, to the finals, and you're there. And at that point, you just don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it you want to be there for the guys. You want to battle for them and with them. And yeah, I just felt like I know that I'm not the only one that have done that. And I know this, it's going to continue on because it's just the camaraderie and the bond that you create over the time.
Yeah, and while we're talking playoffs here, I just want to touch on one more thing before we get into you and what you're doing now. But Bruins Leafs, again, seems like they keep running into each other. You had some good battles with them. You know, I'm from Boston as well. I know how much sports means, how the rivalries are there. Was that one of your favorite rivalries with the Leafs, or did you have other teams you enjoyed playing against or had some other great battles with? Or what do you think of this series as you've seen so far?
No, it's always been great matchups against the Leafs. Obviously, the rivalry speaks for itself with the history. 2 original 6. Obviously, the Montreal Bruins is also up there as far as the rivalry is concerned. But then the Leafs, we've played against them so much over the years that it just created that hatred. Again, we talked about the Vancouver series. It was kind of the same thing with the Leafs, and I always went to the 7th game, it seemed like, and tough series, and it's usually a good thing, you know. Whoever comes out on top in that first round, when it's a big tough series like that, it kind of builds you for the long run.
Is it a rivalry if one side usually wins? I don't know. Is that how that works? Or
Hey, we see that. We see that in some sports, right? Like you'd be like, "Oh, it's a big rivalry," and that team's like, "That's not a rivalry. What are you talking about?"
We win all the time. We beat them every time. I'm just kidding.
Just throw a little gasoline on it.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
see what this guy's doing. Hey, what about? We were talking about it earlier, and we get to see, guys you had a rich history with with the Boston Bruins. Brad Marchand, like this is a player that I love the way he's broken into the league. I think, what he's done, like, take us through the years where, he still kind of walks and toes the line, but he's a little more on this side of it as he once was. Like, what was that process like? Because it's a great story, and we talk about it all the time as far as the media. Like, he's got, when it's all said and done, Hall of Fame type numbers, and that's how good he's been.
Yes, no, I totally agree with that, and I'm biased because I've seen him from day one. The way that he approached the game, the way that the energy that he brought in the locker room as a teammate, as a player that you want to go out there and battle for. And obviously, over time he's evolved, he's grown. I am so impressed with the way that he's matured and become the player that he is, one of the best left wingers in the game, and probably of his generation, to be honest with you. And we have the numbers to back it up as well. But beyond that, I think the leadership that he's been able to display over the years and grow and learn, and now becoming the captain and really leading this team. And you can't think of a better person for the Bruins to lead and I guess be the general for the battle in the playoffs, because he's such a good performer when the game's on the line.
Yeah, his evolution has been unbelievable from where he came to where he is now, and I think obviously you guys and you and the culture they set there has been a big part of that. But while I have you, obviously you're the best defensive forward of our generation, maybe best defensive player. I didn't want to say forward. The game we see today, it's so offensive. There's so much skill and talent, but we sort of talk about how there's not a ton of detail to defense anymore. It doesn't seem like there's as much. For you, when you watch the game now, do you think that's a coaching philosophy? Do you think that guys just don't take defense maybe as serious as the details? I know it must frustrate you when you watch some things and you're thinking in your head, why aren't you, sacrificing a little bit of offense to be more responsible? And having that said, who are some of your favorite defensive-minded forwards in the league today?
Why aren't you puncturing your lung to make sure that puck stays out of the net?
Exactly.
No, I think it's honestly the skills is really impressive now. The skills that those young players are coming with, and the way that they handle the puck and skate, and the speed has improved so much. So it's definitely evolving, and I think it's in a good way. That being said, I think I've always played the game a certain way and never wanted to kind of get away from that. I thought it was efficient and hopefully helping my team the most. And but to some of the players, I think I love Kopi, like Anze Kopitar. I think is one of the most gifted offensive player, but still, super responsible and plays the right way and at both ends. And I'm going to stay on that same team. I really like Phil Deneau, the way that he plays and how smart he is defensively. He's really hard to play against. And there's obviously Ryan Riley and so on. So it's hard to really pick one guy, but I really enjoy watching those guys because I feel like they're playing a 200-foot game, and they can also contribute offensively as well.
Hey, we were talking about, we see some guys, there was a goal scored the other day, the Rangers scored it, and Vinny Trocheck does it, Barclay Goodrow as well. They turn their hands over the other way. I don't really recall you doing that, right? Like you're a righty, and you go to your power backhand. Did you ever go as a lefty to your forehand kind of as a pull as well? And, it's so neat seeing like different angles and different ways of doing it. Like what was, who was the best face-off guy that you learned from kind of in your career?
I think I've learned from a lot of guys, to be honest with you. I think even from like playing against them, to see their tendencies, the way they approach the face-off and to go up against him and having a hard time against, a guy like Ryan Kessler, he's a righty, I'm a righty. I felt like we had some really good battles, and he was always hard to win a face-off against because of the way that he came in with, obviously his strength, but also his mentality of like, you know what, you're not winning this battle. It's a battle. It's a one-on-one, and I'm going to find a way to come out of it. And I think that that grind and mentality it's something that I kind of took away from, and little bits and pieces from a lot of players over the years. And But yeah, it's great to see the evolution, and as you mentioned, Trocheck switching his hand. It's kind of cool to see that guys adjust. Some guys were using their skates midway through my career. I had to adjust to that. It's not easy to defend, and just to see like the evolution and the smarts that some players are coming up with is pretty cool.
Well, before we move on here, I just wanted to ask, when are you going to start training with Big Z for next year's Boston Marathon? Is that in the works anywhere, or what's your plan to stay in shape?
He did actually mention he wanted me to run in this year, and he again mentioned something about next year. So it's not in the cards right now. I don't know if my knees can even hold up for 26 miles, to be honest with you. But so impressive for him to do it at 6'9", and right now he's in London. Well, actually, he ran yesterday in London. So to do 2 marathons within a week is very impressive. So
and he's just shattering his prior time each time he does it too, right? It's nuts.
It seems like he just breezed through this one too to be ready for London. So it's almost like it was only a practice for the in Boston for the London Marathon. So good for him.
Jeez,
that's ridiculous. Yeah. Right. All right, Bergie, we got a special part where we're going to show you. It's called "What Were You Thinking?" We're going to show you a video or a picture in different points of your career. We just want to know what was going through your mind and see if you'll play along here. First one we've got. I don't know if you remember this in particular.
I do.
What we got here?
Basically, it's a one-on-one against Francis Bouillon, a guy that I actually worked out with in the summer. So I knew he knew kind of my tendencies. I was like, you know what, on this one, I'm going to try to put it on net. It's overtime and see what happens. I threw a muffin at Theodore on that one, and lucky enough, it trickled in. So we'll take that.
Oh, that's gotta be a good feeling, though. Yeah. It looked like he was going to. Is he going and pushing? It looked like Frankie was going to push your hands right there up high. Was he trying to give you the old stiff arm to your glove?
I think he thought I was going to come back inside because I like to do that. So I think he was waiting for me to cut back on the inside, and I didn't. So I think it kind of gave me a little bit of space to take the shot off.
Threw him a little head fake there. I saw he kind of faked inside and kept her going. So that's a smart move.
Yeah, almost faked myself too.
All right, we got another one coming up here. Another OT Selly.
Yes. Oh my God, that was just what's going through my head right now is probably just the excitement of winning. It was one of those games. It's first outdoor. It's probably the second or third ever in the NHL. So to be at Fenway Park with all the history, it's nighttime at that point. It's beautiful, and then we make it to overtime because we were down, and to just like find a way to score was just the joy and the excitement to celebrate.
It's funny. I remember this game, watching this, and I was thinking to myself, I always wanted the opportunity to play an outdoor game. I fortunately was able to play in 2, but I always wanted to have the first fight outside. And in that game was the first fight, right? It was Thordy and was it Dan Carcillo? Was that who it was?
Yes.
How nuts was Fenway for that?
Oh my God, it was bananas. It was crazy. It really was. And actually, that's something that we talked about before the game. Well, I didn't, but Thordy was talking about that he wanted to be the first fight, so that was pretty cool.
Beat you to it.
Yeah. It's the same mindset. You just look for the hungriest guy in the other team, like Dan Carcillo. Let's go. But anyways, we got another road. You seem to be pretty good in overtime.
Speaking of Leafs Bruins.
Yes. Oh my God, that's probably the game that people have talked to me about the most, even before like the Stanley Cup and whatnot. It's just an incredible moment to be down 4-1 and be able to tie and then winning in overtime and you're talking about like Fenway Park being loud and crazy. That was the loudest I've heard the Garden that night after that goal.
I remember watching that one and being like, oh my God, I can't believe they just came back and pulled this off.
Yeah.
Hey, kind of for both of you guys, like, because I find this incredible. I'm from Cleveland, right? We haven't had many championships, right? What is it like? You were the captain of this storied franchise in Boston here, and you're from Boston area. Like, what was it like playing and living in that city? You got the Sox, you got the Celtics, you got the Bruins. I mean, the level of competition and the demand to be good was so high, and those franchises do it every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it was a great challenge, and that's what I said my whole career. I thought, some people were saying, "Well, do you feel like that's pressure or extra?" And I always thought it was extra motivation. It was always like pretty impressive and like pretty cool to have around and be able to witness, some of those athletes that you see it at some charity event and be able to talk about that and see what was working for them and whatnot, and also just to be like, what, now is our turn. Like the Celtics just did it. Now and obviously the Sox in the past have done it in the past. So it's like, okay, now like we got to find a way. We got to do it. So it is, just a nice motivational piece, I guess, or aspect on top of like the expectations and the will that you already have.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the city, and as a fan, not of the Bruins, unfortunately, anymore, but it was fun to watch how the teams always seemed to be working together almost. Like, you guys understood what the level was, what the fan bases were like, how much they expected out of you. So it seems like, your leaders would meet with the Red Sox, leaders would meet with the Patriots, and you guys were very, interactive, which I don't think you see in every city that has three or four teams. Right? Yeah, so Boston seemed like you guys were in it together almost.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty cool. And as you said, it's such a sports town that, it's just extra special to be a part of that.
I strategically left out the Patriots because I won't talk about them. But anyways, we'll go to the next one here. We'll go to the next one. Oh.
Okay, what's going through my head is probably like, maybe that wasn't such a great idea after all. But.
when you saw him walk forward with the hat sideways, you're like, maybe we should have rethought this.
Abort. Abort.
Yeah. But, it's funny because the Matt Chamorro, who was the PR guy at the time, he's like, hey, you're going to have to, Timmy's going to talk, Z's going to talk, and then you're going to say something after. And I was like, okay, sure. What do you think? Like, he's like, well, maybe like get the crowd going, sing Black and Yellow. I'm like, I'm not singing. There's no chance I'm doing that. And then, well, make someone do it. Then I'm like, well, I guess Marshy. I'm sure.
The guy. I got the guy perfect for the job right here.
Sorry, Marsh. I feel bad now.
Oh, I love it. Hey,
you know what? You can do whatever you want, I think, right? That's sort of the rule.
You have no regrets when you guys do what you just did there. There ain't no regrets at that time. Oh, that's unbelievable. All right. We got another one. Is this the scrap? Is this your look at this.
Oh, yeah.
And two gamers going at it.
Yeah, what's going through my head is probably like, oh, this is actually happening. Like, who would have thought?
Oh, man.
How many fights did you have in your career? Was this the only? Did you have a couple or?
I had 3, I think.
3. That's pretty impressive.
This was the 3rd one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
It was time. It's not pretty. We can like fast forward.
Hey,
you might have picked the right guy though, in Gino.
That was a good. Yeah. That was a good glove. That was a substantial glove throwing off by you. Both simultaneous. It was nice. Good look.
I always like when like superstars got into it though, like really good players, heat of the moment, you get into a quick scrap. I think those fights were always more fun and interesting to me than just like this. No offense, Rupper, the stage.
No, 100. I agree, 100%. Remember, like the ones that stick out to me the most was the Vinny, the LeCavier Ginla.
Yeah.
Like what was it? The Thornton. Who was it? Thornton.
Getzlaff? Was it Getzy?
Getzlaff? Yeah, I think it was Getzy. Like those ones, man. Those were like that gets everybody going, right? Yeah. You're like, all right, everybody's all in here, ready to go. Hey, quick little trivia for you. Do you remember how many goals you scored against Schneids?
Uh-oh.
Come on, just off top of your head. You got total recall or what?
Top of my head, I have 1.
I said like 2 or 3.
6.
Oh, that many.
6.
6.
Are we showing them all?
We had a hard time in Boston. I don't think I ever won a game in Boston when I was in New Jersey. All right, so we got a bunch here.
The only one I remember is 5-0. There's probably going to be coming up, right?
I remember this one, high slot. I couldn't see it, and then it was right there. Water bottle got knocked off. That's always a good feeling. Yeah, we struggled heavily in Boston. I don't think I ever won with the Devils in Boston because we either get shut out or you guys.
I don't think any teams really had much success there.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had 6. Wow, nice job.
Yeah, well, good stuff.
You and Ovi.
Hey, any predictions here for the rest of this series for your Bruins?
I mean, my Bees are definitely going to take it. It's going to be a tough series. I don't anticipate the series to go like it did in Game 1. Let's be honest. I think Toronto's going to bounce back, but I certainly hope and think that the Bruins are going to win the series.
All right, I agree with that.
I like that. All right,
that.
got to support the team, right?
Yeah.
You can't pick the Leafs.
Feels good. It feels good.
You're a Bruin?
You know, if you would have just said Leafs all day long, I would have ended it right there. But no, hey, we miss the heck out of watching you this time of year. You're one of the absolute best to watch, buddy. But you enjoy your family life and all the great things that brings.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Good to see you.